Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kino with STEM with Kino.com, and today we are going to go a little bit more in depth than we did the last time with the airspeed indicator. The airspeed indicator, if you remember one of my previous videos, I talked about the basic 6 flight instruments. These basic 6 flight instruments were the airspeed indicator, the attitude indicator, the altimeter, turn coordinator, heading indicator, and vertical speed indicator. Today we're going to talk about this guy, the airspeed indicator. All right, so uh, let's push some buttons, give her some power. Okay, so here is our Cessna 152. We are accelerating, and basically the airspeed indicator is being fed with ram air as the aircraft flies through the air. Now, there's a couple things going on I want to talk about. If you look closely, you could see the pitot tube there. So ram air is being forced into the pitot tube, and the static port is measuring the atmospheric pressure at a certain altitude. So both of these feed the airspeed indicator. And you can check out a previous video if you need more information as to how it actually works. Today I want to focus on what we call V speeds. So if you look closely at your airspeed indicator, you will see some color coding in here. Now, first off, the airspeed indicator is calibrated in knots, not miles per hour. And we have a white arc, we have a green arc, we have a yellow arc, and then we have a red radial line. Right. So let's pause this for a minute and let's see what the manual says. If you want to read about the, let me just move this over a little bit. If you want to get to know your aircraft, the best way is to go to the pilot's operating handbook. And in this handbook, if you want to know the limitations, and airspeed would be limitations, that's what the airspeed indicator is communicating to you. It's a color coding that says, hey, I can do certain things as long as the needle is within these certain colors. Okay, so we go to the table of contents. Limitations is section 2. All right. Let's come on down to section 2. Boom, there we go. Section 2, limitations. And we have airspeed limitations, and airspeed indicator markings. Now let me see if I can't drag this guy where we need it when we need him. And let's see here. See if we can zoom in. Wow, I didn't even know I could do that. Okay, that's cool. All right, so we see the color coding markings, and this is the simulator. And maybe I'll do one better because I will just clip this out. Boom. And we can just drag this in and out when we need it. All right, so let's put this guy away. All right, so we're back to the limitation section in the pilot operating handbook. Okay, so if we just scroll down a little bit, airspeed indications. Okay, so introduction. Section 2 includes operating limitations, instrument markings, and basic placards necessary for safe operation of the airplane, its engine, standard systems, and standard equipment. Limitations included in this section and in section 9 have been approved by the Federal Aviation Administration. Observance of these operating limitations is required by federal aviation regulations, so it's the law. So, you know, And it tells you your Cessna is certificated under type FAA type certificate, blah, 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 blah. You can read all that in your own. Cessna 1 model number 152. So we have these V speeds. All right. V just stands for velocity. Uh, so we have V speeds. We have VFE, VA, VNO, VNE. All right. Let's start from the bottom. We have the bottom of the white arc. All right. Bottom of the white arc. The white arc would be your flap operation speed. Okay. You would not be extending if your needle's kind of coming up because you're accelerating and it starts to fly past 85 knots, you definitely want those flaps retracted because we don't want to cause structural damage. So that's the maximum flap extended speed, and it's actually a little bit past 85. Well, no, it's 85 knots indicated. All right, and then we have the maneuvering speed, which is not marked on the airspeed indicator. It's one of the most important speeds, but it's not marked, and that's because it adjusts for your weight. The weight of the aircraft. So you will not be making full abrupt control movements above the maneuvering speed. When would you need to make full abrupt control movements? Well, in emergencies, in turbulence, maybe really gusty conditions and stuff. So you want to make sure that you're aware of how much your aircraft is weighing so you can keep track of the maneuvering speed. Maximum structural cruising speed at 1,1, and that's the top of the green arc. You see the green arc extends a little bit past 110, so 111 knots is your maximum structural cruising speed, and then the red radial line is 149. That is VNE, or never exceed. All right, so VFE, VA, VNO, VNE. NE, never exceed. NO, normal operating. VA, maneuvering, I don't know. I could never figure out why they called it VA instead of maybe like a VM. And then VFE, maximum flaps, maximum flap extension speed. So you should not be operating outside of the white arc using flaps. All right. You have what we would call a stall. Okay, so yeah, the bottom of the white arc is your stall speed in the clean configuration. We call clean configuration is when your gear, if you have retractable gear, and your flaps, I'm sorry, dirty. Ooh, let me back up. I had a phone call and I paused the video, so I kind of lost track of where I am, but I'm back. So the bottom of the white arc is the stall speed in a dirty configuration with your gear extended and your flaps extended. The bottom of the green arc is what we call your stall speed in a clean configuration with your gear, if they are retractable, and your flaps fully retracted. All right, clean configuration. Top of the white arc, maximum flap extension speed. Top of the green arc is your maximum structural cruising speed, which was 111 knots. And then we have, in this yellow arc, we have that's called a caution speed range. Okay, you do not want to be flying. You only want to be flying in this area in smooth air. Now, if we just scroll down just a little bit more, it talks about it. Okay, so basically, that's what I just covered: your white arc, your green arc, your yellow arc, and your red radial line. So how in the heck do we come up with these? Well, the manufacturer does, and when the manufacturer builds an airplane, they come up with something called a VG diagram, or velocity, a VG. When we pull G's, we're pulling gravity. So if we come over here, and I don't know if I don't think I can get this any bigger. Okay, but what we have here is your G's, or load factor. If you're sitting down right now, gravitational pull acting on your body, if you're not in a car and you're not moving, it is a load factor of 1. All right. Let's say if you're in a roller coaster and it does like one of those dips down in the bottom, or something like that. Hold on, let me just. All right. Roller coasters. Okay, so a couple different scenarios. Like this roller coaster, when it comes down to the bottom and it starts to pull up, your weight actually increases. So your load factor increases. So let's say by a factor of 2. And so if you're 100 pounds, as when you're in this particular part of the roller coaster, you weigh heavier. That's why you feel yourself kind of getting smashed down in the seat, because for a moment your weight or your load factor is actually increasing, and at that particular time you are heavier for a moment. Let me see here. Wanted to get if you ever been on a roller coaster and you kind of went up and you got to the top and you felt your body wanting to fly out, and that's why you have the restraint systems in roller coasters, because you actually go weightless for a moment. Okay, so VG diagrams. Okay, so basically what this diagram is, and if you notice, you have green, yellow, and red. These are the colors in the airspeed indicator. Okay, so these actual colors on the chart coincide with how the airspeed indicator is designed. All right, now when the manufacturers built this plane is specified to operate within certain load limits. Okay, because we don't want to structurally damage the aircraft, and we definitely don't want it to structurally fail either. All right, and then sometimes within certain areas you get yourself into an accelerated stall where the airplane will not let you structurally damage it. The airplane just be like, nope, and in that case would be an accelerated stall. If you have any more questions about the VG diagram, I suggest you talk to your instructor, or you could leave comments and I'll answer them. But your instructor's your first line, your flight instructor's your first kind of big brother, if you would, to help guide you along in your flight training journey. But I'm here as a supplement. Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to cover in this VG diagram. But if you notice, we have a never exceed speed, which you have speed on the bottom indicated. So in this particular aircraft, the never exceed speed, the red radial line will be around 220 and some change. And then the caution speed range goes from 180 to about 220. And your normal operating speed is from, I guess this is like 65-ish to 180. But the particular aircraft that you're operating, this airspeed indicator is built for the particular airplane that you're flying in. Okay, and so that's why the color coding is there and is specific to that particular aircraft. So airspeed indications, I showed you guys where to find it. I think that's really all I really want to talk about in this video. So let's come on back and let's slide this back into position, and let's see. So that's the airspeed indicator, folks. So please like and subscribe and share if you like this video. Flyby. I'll see you guys later.